Today, it's another episode of The Life with Bridget, and we have a very special guest today. When I say very special, I'm adding that very, very special guest today. And our guest is Olaitan Onyebuoha. As a tradition, Life with Bridget is not just a regular podcast. This is a podcast where conversations inspire, true conversations. And I tell people that it's not just where you just come and listen, take notes, learn from the guests, learn from all the advice. You'll be surprised at how handy this will come in, in the course of your living and maybe towards your career or business or in your pursuits for whatever it is you're pursuing. It's truly important to learn from everybody's experience. Those experiences truly come in handy. For example, you have issues or difficulties, maneuvering situations. I remember, one of the guest speakers from Life with Bridget, spoke, shared her experience in this regard. And I think I'm going to try to work on, how she was able to manage the situation and apply it to mine. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's a one size fits it all, but then again, it's a learning opportunity for everybody. So I'm just going to introduce Olaitan officially. So Olaitan Onyebuoha is a multi-award winning entrepreneur, keynote speaker, and founder of the 7th Laurel Immigration Consulting, specializing in international education research, recruitment, and immigration services. She holds an MBA in entrepreneurship and technology management and is a member of the College of Immigration and Citizenship Consultants. Woo-hoo-hoo. With over 12 years of experience across various industries. Olaitan's innovative approach and problem-solving skills have made her a trusted leader. She also co-founded the Black Business and Professional Network, BBPN, and serves on Prod Inc.'s All Women's Project, contributing to efforts and eliminate systemic barriers. Her accolades include the BBPA Rise Up Award, Lighthouse Leadership Award, and recognition as one of the 100 accomplished Black Canadian women for 2024. Did you hear that? 2024. Recently honored by the Black Canadian Community Cultural Center for her contribution, Olaitan remains dedicated to empowering others and making a lasting impact. That I will say that I have benefited, this is a life testimony that I have benefited from Olaitan's support, women empowerment. Olaitan has been, if I'm going to say, okay, what was my success story like in Canada? You fall really seriously. It's not because you're here. I would say that she's one of those instruments that has truly supported me on my business in Canada and also career-wise. She's always available, even when you don't need her, to offer help. She's the definition of women supporting women. Trust me when I say this, I'm not kidding. So now I'm not going to steal the spotlight from you. I would want you to say one or two things that I haven't mentioned. Just so you know, this is just a summary. This is a summary of her bio. You can imagine. I don't want to go there. So Olaitan, please, do you want to introduce yourself? To say maybe some things that I haven't mentioned.
Well, you said a lot. Thank you so much for having me here. It's always a privilege and honor that I do not take for granted when I have the privilege to come share a little bit about my journey. And it's not always about me, because I believe in one thing, that we rise by lifting others. So if we all are up there, it makes sense for, a healthy ecosystem where we can also use our strengths to bring other people up there. So there is this adage in where I came from, that one rich man in the midst of tons of poor people are all poor. So the goal is to make sure that we are all rich, so that, we break the cycle of poverty. Poverty may not necessarily be not having money. It's also lack of information. It's lack of opportunities. It's lack of network. So the goal that actually gets me out there every day is to ensure that, if not anything, I put a smile on people's face, and to the glory of God, the grace that God has deposited in me has never failed me in that direction. So thank you so much for having me here. And yeah.
Trust me when I say she's just being modest, really. She's trying to be, but this has just been, oh, let me just say it this way so they won't think maybe I'm, oh, wow. Like they said, always praise yourself, lift your shoulder up because this is truly deserving. Lighton, thank you so much. So for those of you that don't know what today's topic is all about, today is the discussion we're going to have is on thriving across industries, the benefits of a diverse career path. I want to believe that this is hitting on someone because in this part of the world where we come with so many skills, we'll be wondering, is this the right fit for me or no? Do I go back? Is it okay if I have a switch? As in, is there like how many times do I have to switch? Does it tell well on my resume? Is that going to be like a negative for me when I'm looking for a job? Well, today I hope that we'll be able at least light on from her experience, and we'll have that insight towards how we can navigate. So before I begin, I'm just gonna have a series of questions for you. I'd appreciate if give examples as well, so the listeners get to understand what this is about.
Right.
I know I met Lighton. Yeah, Lighton has been here for a while. So I want to say those Canadian godmothers. Someone said, Bridget, you were St. John godmother. I was like, what the hell do you mean? So people like Christine, people like Lighton, what do we call them? Canada's great grand godmothers. No way. So it's always good to give honor to who it is deserving. So what motivated you to explore multi-industries throughout your career, and how did this journey begin for you?
Thank you so much. Right from my childhood, my mom has always been saying that I'm a very curious person. I love to just ask why things go this way. Why can't there be an alternative? Why sometimes when I'm around her, it gets so frustrating that she just have to like send me away. So and I discovered that again, my journey into business has always been to just create a difference in whatever I do. And when my mom named our first business after me, one of my names, when I was born, I didn't really understood until, we actually went on transfer from Lagos to Osun State, and we came back. And then my mom started the business again. And I just found myself going back and forth, always helping her. In fact, giving her some ideas, which eventually would work. So growing up, I saw myself going out of my way to create opportunities for myself. Like my first salary, I had my first salary when I was in grade 9, not that we're hungry, like we would just like sneak out, mommy wants to go and do some work, wants to go and do stuff. My dad shouldn't know anyways.
Yeah.
So through that, being exposed to certain older professionals literally got to me when I go into their space. They talk about businesses, they talk about if one opportunity is not working, why not switch to another one? I begin to question that concept around, okay, if this is not working for me, what if I go the other way? Then I went to the Polytechnic. My first background, I had my first degree in marketing. And during that time, I was very, very passionate about reading Philip Kotler, Principle of Marketing. And one of the, Principle of Marketing actually has a lot of corporate global organizations, how they leverage on diversification as a strength, for their growth, such that they could beat competition. So, and one of them was Procter and Gamble, Coca-Cola, and I begin to wonder, what if, since organizations can literally go out of their way to do so many things, then human beings should be able to do that as well. So when I left the Polytechnic, I went for my internship, and thankfully, I had my internship in a civil engineering construction company. So, moving from marketing, it helps me to literally uncover experience in construction, how to, go out there in sales capacity selling. Before you can sell a construction product, which is either they're building drainages, they're selling houses and all that, you need to learn ground up, at least the basic elements of what constitutes what the civil engineers will do, what the architects will do, and all that. So from there on, I was very curious, and I was able to get a job for my company with Dangote when Dangote was building the Obajana cement in
Wow.
Kogi State. Yeah, it was. I saw that request for proposal and I was so curious. I told my manager, we can do this. She was like, what do you know? Do you mean we have to go to Alaba and pick up all these things? Because it was like a request for quotes for vendors to supply. They were building estates. So they wanted people to supply all the furnishing and all that. So I told my manager, we can do it. I know my mom used to go to Alaba. My this, let's do this, let's do that. So okay, then I went. And thankfully, because I kept on going back to the place where you were meant to go and submit the proposal, one elderly man used to say, because I would go there in the morning, they would turn me, because I was very small. Yeah, this by small stature. What are you looking for? What are you looking for? I told him, I'm an intern. I just want to help my company make money. This. He's sending me a week. The second week I went there, one elderly man just come and say, you know what? I'll take you inside. So he took me inside with the folder and we submitted. One Sunday, my manager got a call from Dangote of his marble house, I think in Ikoyi, that he needed to come. I was very excited that wow. So at the end of the day, my curiosity never failed. I got something. From there, I moved on to banking, completed my internship in the bank, Guarantee Trust Bank, and experiences in different areas literally made me to see that, this is my superpower. Because when I look at myself and my peers at that time, I had a lot of experience and accolades going for me. So when I went back to the university, I didn't return to the polytechnic. I knew spot on what I wanted to do. I knew how I could leverage on my strength in terms of gathering data, asking questions to thrive in any organization. And the principle around succeeding in different areas is that willingness to unlearn and the willingness to relearn and the willingness to stay humble. So those were the areas wherein I have been able to navigate, and I came to Canada. I had my MBA, ETM, Entrepreneurship and Technology Management. And then I started my career again. I had to go back to start in insurance, CD insurance, an industry I never, got in. But one thing again, that's trying to say I will do this. I will not fail because I didn't come here to fail. So it helps me to get into IT world again through TD. I got into IBM, into vendor or management and all that. I was literally putting networking software, working with IT guys to do things. And for me, it's all been about openness, willingness to learn, willingness to take on the challenge. Yeah, say that.
Thanks for that insight. To think that sometimes not about the money, but starting, I know that back home, a lot of people, want to, depend on parents 100% till when they're able to stand, on their feet financially. But right from grade 9, wow. A lot of people, it's not just, people believe that you have to be born with this, and others say, oh no, you can learn in life, right? And watching your mother do all of this, so I would say it began from home. That's a good
No,
one.
even my going to the university, like I defiled all the hurts. When I was going to the university, I was really going with a lot of money that I've saved for myself from working with Guarantee Trust Bank. Like I went with all my money because my dad was like, you can't go to this school because family wise, this. If you want to go, go. I was like, I'm going. I went. And that
Wow.
made something I could be very stubborn. Like I left. I literally moved away from the southwestern part of where I was to another far away from home. It was in my final year. My dad now said, where are you? What's going on? And by then, and trust me, if I had listened and I've gone to the school my dad recommended, I would be struggling to graduate like 5 years afterwards because my brother's friend who went to that school was there before me. Would you believe I graduated before my brother's friend?
Oh, wow.
And 2 years after, yes. So sometimes I follow my instincts. If I have to do this, I have to do it. So empowering oneself is also one key to liberation at a time T. Because sometimes time and chance happens to each and every one of us. How well we prepare for that time and chance is what makes the difference between a successful and a struggling person.
Wow. I agree. So would you say it was because of the strike, or what was the situation in the school where, you had to graduate before your brother's friends?
I don't want to talk about the school, but I know that I came from Osun State. Maybe people can actually put one and one together. And I had my polytechnic in that state. And I knew, and again, being raised in a culture where the girl child often seems to be, we've been trained to be modest. Don't, just bottle yourself there. I literally second guessed myself when I was in final year in secondary school. I have seen the trend. And one thing with me is I watch trends to really think of what is the next step to take. So I've noticed that the school that I went to is a public school. A lot of people that graduate from that school, they struggle with their UME, the University Matriculation Exam. And that
Wow.
literally puts me at that spot where I wasn't confident to do it. I just told my mom, let me go and try with PCE, Polytechnic College entry exams. I was like, why now? I said, that's what I want to do. So when I got it one time, I went to the Polytechnic. I said, I'm not going back to the Polytechnic for my HND. I will do a direct entry. And being in a catchment area, there's a particular university that my dad wanted me to go. But because of the level of the strike actions, something I can spend 12 years, 24
Wow.
years. I told my dad, I don't want to do this. He was like, you have to go, you have to do this. Then I obeyed him, I went. And they said, you know what? They do not have admission for me for this year. Based on certain things, you and I understand the dynamics, right? I had distinction. There was nothing that could say on the basis of, so they didn't allow me. So I just said, you know what? I'm going to go back to Lagos and extend my internship. That was when I said, and I'm going to go back making a lot of money. But no school will say no to me when I'm ready to. That's why I went from the initial IT company, the construction, to looking for a job in the bank. So I went to GT Bank and I got the job and I saved all my salary, you know. So when I was ready to go, I was ready to carry my bag. So my dad was like, you're going, let's see whether you will not come back. I just said, please just pray for me. I know you can swear for me. I left. And between 2 years, I had my 3-year program within 2 years. So
Hmm.
yeah. So for me, sometimes you need to take a step. You need to tell yourself, be determined that regardless of what happens, even if you stay in a current career, in a single career path, sometimes you need to prepare yourself and be ready for that opportunity. Because sometimes opportunity comes unannounced, you know.
I agree. So how did transitioning between industries impact your personal and professional growth?
Well, I always my career really began um, when I moved to Canada because when I graduated, there were some decisions that I made around, putting family
Mm.
um, goal first, which was something that naturally I wanted to do, and that speaks to the personal side of things. I always set personal goals for myself every 5 years, and by the time I was coming into Canada 10 years ago, my goal was to say now I have done the first family phase. I'm ready for my career now. So when I am thinking of what I want to do in terms of diversifying my portfolio, making sure that I have opportunity and I can tap into it, I always make sure I think what I would do that will strengthen the foundation I've already laid. So
Mhm.
it's more like in business strategy, we call it concentric diversification. Concentric diversification is about when you try to make sure what you're currently holding on, you're not throwing it away. Or you're trying to create a need around that thing to create another opportunity. You know, in some other industries, they will call it upselling. So I've always told myself, whatever I'm doing personal, if I can draw inferences and lessons from my personal life, it should help in my professional life in terms of leadership. Because when you lead yourself personally, you can lead with your responsibility in the professional world. So I've always modeled my journey around what I can do. I know one can't keep myself, and I wouldn't want a situation where I will bite more than I can chew because mental exhaustion is real. So I try as much as possible to keep that mindset of learning. Like I said, on learning, because in certain industries, what you've learned is not what you're going to start learning in the other phase. The
Sure.
ability to have, yes, to discipline your mindset, to ensure that the rhythm around the side of, your brain is not causing the noise pollution on the other side of where you want to learn another thing. At the end of the day, you find where they meet at a common ground. So for me, I have been able to drive my diverse knowledge or acquisition of knowledge or skills or venturing into ventures. It seems related. If you look at how I started my journey, insurance. By the way, I did insurance while I was doing marketing business administration, but I didn't do it big time like I did in Canada. And thankfully, when I did my internship with IBM, my interviewer was really, really excited about how I was able to navigate in TD. I never knew I was even going to manage TD portfolio when I got into IBM. So lessons I drew from that also helped me when I went into IBM, because one core thing that I know I always get a blue points with IBM for is the ability to listen to people and empathize with them. So for me, it speaks from also growing up in an environment where you have elders who has literally nurtured us through proverbial words, through folk tales, stories, and things like that. That also helps you to think about integrity, morality, or staying true to yourself, not letting go of learning when the employer is not looking. So a lot of things helped me to shape me in terms of how I learned and how I grasped the learning.
Yeah.
So experience from the previous role would help me to adapt, but above all, my willingness to step out of my comfort zone has always helped me to adapt to my profession. But there is always a linkage in that industry that I find myself. It is now that I've really built that resilience and the tenacity that I can tell myself, like, regardless, even if you tell me to go into mining industry, I would always find a way to adjust. But I tell myself, if I can do this, if I can navigate the MBA program as the first mom with two young toddlers, a 2-year intensive program that was condensed into one, I always use that to encourage myself that you got it, just calm down, understand the rules, and follow the rules. So yeah.
Oh. So you did mention that you had your first baby when you started the school here, right?
I had 2 of them. One, 4 at that time, the second 2.
So how were you able to
Carry
cope
that.
around that with school?
That year, like a lot toiled with my brain and myself, but thankfully, before we came into the program, and like I always say, sometimes the lesson from working in a current role today, I would encourage anybody that is watching now or watching this replay to know that whatever you're doing today is going to be a point of reference, either as a getaway plan or as a way to raise another generation of leaders. It could be for you, it could be for another person to learn through your story so that they will not make the same mistake. My journey to Canada didn't start say, oh, everybody like the way everybody wants to Japan now. They just wake up, I want to go in the next 6 months. Mine was not like that.
Need to follow.
No. The journey started in 2011, yeah. When I started applying, 2010, when I started applying for my MBA to UK. And by then, first baby arrived and I stayed back again. I got the admission in UK. And in the news, you see a lot of black kids being murdered on the street of London, things like that. And kind of made my husband and I to be a bit unsettled about the decision to go to the UK. Then US also, we considered the US. And then we just looked at between UK and US, there's still this whole thing about these feelings, racial profiling and all of that. There came Canada in the middle of, the two ocean, let me put it so to say. and they're just there. They have their own. Everybody, each country has its own peculiarity and challenges, but
Yes.
there's just something about them around students coming to study, the opportunities, the welcoming environment, the diversity, and again, dating back to the history of Canada, how Canada became what it is. So I just said, let's try this. And then we researched all the schools, all the MBA schools in Canada. Or when I say we, myself and my husband, we actually opened up our Excel sheets. We did everything. So everything we learned from there helped us to plan around where we can get daycare, at least wait lists, all those things. So before we came, we've already rented our apartments. We've gotten a landlord. We paid 1 month ahead of time. I always say this, like you say, it's good to have people that have supported one's journey. And in my journey, I can never forget two persons. One of them is the director at Meridian Credit Union now in Ontario, Quincy Regu. He had his birthday, I think, yesterday. I always celebrate him on his birthday. The second one is Kubina Banfo Awar. Kubina has also moved to another province. He was with Irving for a very long time. These two guys were very instrumental to my settling in. They were able to help me get an accommodation and helped me pay, prior to arrival. So all those things literally helped to manage the stress of coming with two toddlers. The fact that they have a daycare to go to, even though the nannies, we couldn't really knock that off. But planning ahead really helped us. It also helps to manage the shock. It wasn't easy though, but at least still helps to put a bit of sanity around the whole thing. And then we had to spend a lot of money, resources. Thankfully, exchange rate was, I think, around 125 naira to $1 then.
All days.
So things were still relatively great, and and thankfully the support system, there were 7, including me, Nigerians in my program then. So they came through for me. Christine that you mentioned, one of them, Stephanie, Samoye, Toby, Rachel, Olashade Adeyemo, Festus. Those are the amazing brothers and sisters from another mother that I had. So support system really helped. But it wasn't easy. Some days I'll just wake up and start crying. Thanks to me here. Some days I'm on the bus and I've forgotten that my next stop is this. I'm already lost in thought and I missed my bus stop. I had to walk back crying, running. But it was an experience that, looking back, I just have to thank God for the grace to carry on, and here I am to tell the story to encourage another person. Yeah.
That was a tough one. Okay.
A tough one.
Yeah, wow. In all of this, what were some of the most valuable skills you gained from working in different sectors that you've mentioned, and how do they apply to your work today? Like your work ethic, like how are these applicable to what you do today?
For me, first thing that drives my mindset going into something, even the journey of the unknown, is that attitude that I can do it. So with the attitude comes the energy. With the energy, you already have two things going for yourself. You have the right attitude, the energy gives you positive vibes, and strengthen your dopamine. That's a chemical that the brain releases to tell you, yes, I'm in this to win it. So then that attitude helps me to adapt, And one thing I do is to take my time to check my environment, to be in touch with my environment. I learned this when I was trying to get a job with Procter & Gamble. One of the skills they test is your ability to be in touch with your environment. So through my husband that time, when he was prepping me for the interview, just say, most of the things you need to, when you go into his space, just try to understand what it's all about, because you never know. That might be the question that the interview might be dwelling on. So that for me, even though I didn't get that job then, that lesson went with me anywhere I go. So if I go into a space, or before I go into a space, I want to learn about what they do. I want to learn, there's something they must have done that aligns with what I can do. I'll use that as my superpower. And that helps me to adapt. So it helps me to be able to solve the problem, because I know this is the authority I'm speaking on. I know this very well. That there comes the confidence. And then people see that truly There is something about knowledge. You cannot fake it.
No, you
You
can't.
know when you know it. So those things really help me. It also helps me to test my problem solving skills. It helps me to also get to proceed because that is about empathy, emotional intelligence. Knowing fully well that you're carrying everybody along. You know, that also goes into a leadership personality that I believe an average individual who wants to thrive or who wants to build a structure around organization needs to have. You know, leading with empathy and emotional intelligence
Yeah.
to know, and also for me as a person of faith, anywhere I go, I pray for discernment to know who truly, really identifies with what I carry because sometimes there's this thing about testing all the spirits to know which is right.
Mm-hmm.
So I try as much as possible. Not that I'm trying to, say I'm perfect. We all have our, you know, downside.
Yeah.
But as much as you understand yourself, you try to leverage on that strength and build lessons around what you can learn. You don't have to learn everything. Just learn what aligns with your state of being. Then the rest starts falling into place. But in all, working in diverse fields would help you to build resilience because whatever you might have failed in or at, you will remember, oh, when I tried to take this route, I failed. That will give you like a red signal to rethink that decision. That you failed in a previous career path, taking that route does not mean you will fail, use it, but it will help you to weigh your options, right? To think through options that you have.
Mm-hmm.
And then it makes for sound decision making.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I know that it's a bit tough, and some people find that changing career is, I don't mean to be negative, it's called like career prostituting, right?
People tend to
that's
say
that.
you are not serious. Honestly,
Yes.
I think you're
Yeah.
right. Some people have that mindset that oh, you're not serious. Some recruiters also use that as a point to strike out some candidates. I've
Yes.
seen a recruiter say when this one is shopping around.
Yeah.
I
This is
think
a candidate that's going to stay with us to grow. They're going to leave when another opportunity comes, or just leave for just living sake. It takes a strong-willed person to think about a career switch and plan and calculate. So, what would you say is the right time to have that switch? Is it like after 10 years, or maybe when the need arises, or you just want to just switch?
right time is not a function of length of years. It's not a function of it's a function of yourself. When you know you're ready and you've built capacity. When you know you are ready and you have built capacity. Building capacity means that if the going gets tough and no dollar is coming into your pocket, what is your fallback plan? And I'm going to be very vulnerable and very, very, very blunt here. When I chose to take a walk from my full time, half a decade and some months working with IBM to say, you know what, I just want to go slow. I want to go do my thing. The offer came on my team. My manager was like, you know what, we'll give it. Then I experienced burnout, and I found myself waking up to the job that I used to love, that I can do anything to hold on to, not excited about it. And I always tell myself, the moment I get to that state, my ethical line of reasoning comes on board. Say, am I being fair to my employer? Am I just going there to make money? They are experts. Honestly, that's always the first thing that comes to the table. I am not being fair to my employer. I am cheating them because I'm not bringing my best self to the table. And I don't like leaving a place on the basis of performance issue. So I've set the record. Let me go with the record that this person works hard. Not that this person used to work hard and then we don't know what happened.
Yeah.
So, and the decision to leave IBM, and this is my story. So disclaimer, what works for me may not work for you.
Sure.
But I believe you can pick up 2 lessons to know when you are actually ready, drawing inferences from people's stories and all that.
Yeah.
When I was, I knew when I was ready to just take that time off to address the burnout and also build something. Before then, I had a business side also that I was working on, Operate Consulting. Operate Consulting to the beauty of God has helped a lot of people, to even discover New Brunswick. And some of them will come and say, oh, we're looking for Olaitan. It was because of you I discovered new with. Oh, this is the hawk. I was so happy. And the need to literally continue to respond to need led me to going back to school during my maternity leave to do immigration. And then by 2021, I already got my license to practice. Clients were coming in, but I was very busy doing my full-time job. One thing I know in marketing and branding is that word of mouth goes farther than the feet of a business person.
You say it's the best form of advertisement.
Exactly. And by 2021 into early 2022, the burnout was still, we're just coming out of COVID, remember? I was locked up. My husband was locked out of Canada. So I had my full-time job. I had 3 children, daycare, school, everything. So coming and everybody was ready to go out back to work. I was already drained. And there was this push from clients who wants to take on immigration. I cannot provide. They kept on saying, you said you are now licensed. Why are you not taking our job and all that? Later now you will say you will come and be begging us. I start hearing that. I say to myself, if these kind of people meet another friend and they say, oh, we know about 7 years, she's not serious, so before you know it. So if I'm already experiencing burnout in my workplace, maybe this is the time for me to just take a bow, respectfully, honorably, and then go relax and build something. Coming back to your question, what is the right time? The right time for me could be relative. The right time for that person will be, okay, I'm timing myself, I want to go and do 5 years. After 5 years, I'm done. That means you already planned and structured yourself. The journey of entrepreneurship that I took, I decided to make sure I had things working out in the way that if hunger wire me, by that I know if I am hungry or if there is no clients, what can Canada economy is no respecter of person.
Yeah,
you must buy everything, you must pay taxes. When your rent is fully due, go pay. You don't pay, your credit score will be affected. Credit score gets affected. It's a land of building credit.
It is.
So ask yourself, if I want to go into this career, am I really ready mentally, financially? If you decide to say, I want to go solo, you have that money to manage yourself, pending when the first year of business is not all rosy.
It's not.
When you're drawing your business plan, assumptions are the first 2 years you go from negative to a bit of negative. The third year you see yourself stable, and then you can shoot and start making money. So what is going to happen for that 3 years? The question you want to answer yourself to know whether you want to stay put where you are at and the counting time build, or you just want to go all the way. I was ready to go. I even forfeited my stock options like 30 days before. I waited 2 years, but I was tired to wait another 30 days. So I left. I left with low EI. I left with the peace of mind that I made the right decision, not to cheat my employer, to be true to myself, and to find time to relax and enjoy my family time. Because for 8 years, I never had Christmas holiday with family. For 8 years, I didn't have summer vacation. The summertime is always our business planning period. I just woke up someday and I realized that the toddlers that we came together, they're all grown. Coming when they need me, I'm not around. What am I going to say around my ministry and calling as a mom? Am I going to live my professional life at the expense of that image I want my children to see? So those were the things that literally helped me to tell myself I made the right decision at the time I quit. Or it might not work for you watching. Just try to plan your exit if you want to go into another industry. If you're going into that industry, are you equipped with the education? So even if I don't have experience, this is my superpower. I have this education in ABC. From my education, these are the things that I learned.
Yeah.
And if it is not education, have you volunteered in that capacity, in that ecosystem to tell yourself, yes, I am ready? Because it's not going to be all rosy. you're going to take a leadership of the role. And how well you do it also would matter if you're going to last in that new field you're venturing into. To the point, be prepared, not just money-wise, not just time-wise, resources, because you're going to be subject matter expert. There is no micromanaging in most organizations here. How well can you manage yourself and take ownership is what most employers and your direct line manager will look at.
Yeah. So was there any challenges that you faced, in moving careers, from one industry to the other? And how were you able to overcome those challenges, if any?
Yeah, you will, because in the process of unlearning something, you're gonna slow down. Sometimes you lose some things, right? That means you're gonna divest. Divestment means like setting out some part of ideas or knowledge that is not going to work as you take on new knowledge. You're going to spend more time learning new things. I just graduated from hospitality and tourism management because, like I said, I'm doing concentric diversification, making sure that whatever knowledge I'm taking on is not really making me to abandon the entire knowledge that I've built over the years. And the next journey also is saying I'm still going back to school in January in another field that is literally going to still help me broaden my capacity to build my business, because it's a legacy I am building. I'm not just in this business to do business as usual. I'm in this business to also empower my children, subtly telling them that you can do it. If your mom navigated all of these things and she built this, the legacy is for you to carry on. So what I'm saying is that you will lose time, you will lose money, you will lose friends. Yes, you will. That's the reality. You might be in this industry with this friend at this time too. Moving into another industry means you have to go and also form a new community, right? You need to master certain things. And there comes the need for you to check within whether you use this time to go and watch movie, to go and do Netflix and sit down and cross your leg, or you want to spend time learning. So time is one critical thing. From my experience, like I said, when I left the full-time 9 to 5 reality, I lost my opportunity. I lost the EI. I had to start buying my health insurance myself. Easy. Oh my goodness.
That was a really, really tough call, because not everybody have it in them to say, okay, this is it. I am moving. No way, nothing. I want to go do what I love to do and, just work on my passion. But not everybody does. And it's great to hear that this is happening, that someone wants to move on because they feel it is the right time. But just so you know, again, that what works for someone else may not necessarily, work for you. So when it's time for you, when you're not feeling that vibes, if you still want to stay on, hoping that there may be a change, the choice is all yours. But then again, put yourself first. Now, I know that moving industries can be a little challenging, but have you ever had a moment where you found that a skill you learned from a recent work environment coming in play to help you excel in a new role in a different industry?
My very first post-secondary education till tomorrow prepared me for what I'm doing now. It helps me to navigate and manage objection, because when I started, I was in marketing. I read marketing. There's this program we did, which is sales management, managing objection and all that, and ability to cross-sell. And I've seen myself over the years in interview situation, those lessons come. Then, when I went to the university, my professor I took an elective, the late Professor EIE, called organizational behavior, and he was literally taking us, we were taking the same program with the MBA students. This man literally opened our eyes to see different scenarios of Harvard business cases, Harvard business review. He brings it to the class. He literally prepped us to think like a leader in corporate world. Coming into the MBA program, I was always telling my friend, they always laugh at me that You say you are not here to carry first, but you just want to enjoy the moment. Honestly, those lessons from the university, the elective I took with the MBA students, and the case studies that a man buys and brings to class helped me to have the best approach to work on case studies that I was doing in UMB. Instead of spending too much of time, I've already learned the dynamics of how to approach a case, what to look out for. So I spend less time reading. Those times I'm supposed to spend more, spend it on the third class. They were with me. So it helped me to manage my time wisely. That's number one. Number two, the knowledge that I gained from the Polytechnic when I went to the university, I did business law, I did corporate law. At the university, the lecturer even thought I went to hire a mercenary because of the books and the mindset and the scope and the legal cases that I was using. It wasn't from the school or the previous school. So he seized my results in the first module. Seized it, I went, I cried, I showed him my book, he didn't answer me. Then by the second module, I noticed it came to the hall. I didn't know, I just thought maybe it came to. At the time that exam was over, not only did he mark me well in the second one, he released the second one. That's skills and knowledge transfer instance again. In Canada, the insurance that I did with CD, it was in those moments where you just want to survive. You are on a survival mode. Imagine working 3 p.m. to 11 midnight. My husband was still working in Africa then. I had to find a way to get the children to after school from 3 to 6 p.m. Meanwhile, I'm at work at 3 o'clock. Meanwhile, the after school will close at 6 p.m. Meanwhile, I'm meant to leave the work at 11 p.m. You see, that's a riddle. How did I manage it? It's a function of how to prioritize and think of what is important and build solutions around it. So lessons from any situation, any instances can be applicable. They're all life lessons we learn from things. Have you thought about how our ancestors, the early settlers, who never went to school, who never read a book, they didn't even know what technology looks like?
Nope.
Even when Adam, according to what we read in our Bible, came, he just saw something and then he started naming the creature, right? What does that tell you? That's the ability to be in touch, lived experience. Most of the things we do in any capacity, any industry we find ourselves, is that lived experience and the natural instincts, our survival instincts that we have that helps us.
Yeah.
Just that technology has come to make us to be a bit lazy around things. We really have that knowledge and the superpower built in us. How we channel it to data use is a function of that individual.
Yeah. So how has building connections across industries enhanced your career opportunities and network?
Respect for people regardless. Not judging somebody before experiencing the person. You know, oftentimes you make mistakes of assumptions sometimes, right? And the thing with me is I'm a very open book. I don't hide my feelings, I give the feedback, and I also check to proceed to be sure we're on the same page. Because when it comes to leadership, there are different approach and traits that leaders usually exhibit that has led us to looking at the theories of leadership. Our ability to navigate in different roles in different industries first is driven by empathy. Maya Angelou said, she said, people will forget what you say to them. People will never forget how you make them feel. So, for me, how you make people feel around you is a function of how people can approach you in the most vulnerable state of mind. Forget what did I say to you. I may have said something, but how I made you feel would make you want to come back to me next time. To make me want to go back to you. So my ability to thrive in those roles is all about just looking at the individual, understanding them. And that's why I said my knowledge from organizational behavior that this professor EIE taught me really helps me to understand the different sides to human that we need to understand rather than judge them from the point of view of certain character that they exhibit at the time T, you know. So understanding people helps me to know what approach, to get them to the room, to have a conversation. And one thing with me is most of my decision making are based on assumptions that are driven by statistical data, instances of, in my immigration practice now, I use a lot of legal precedents to help my clients argue and win cases. I also use a lot of, what you can find there because data is a function of it's either 1 or 2, 5 or 10. They are not always subjective, they are objective. Ability to thrive in different career paths is a function of respect for the individuals you meet in that ecosystem, and anyhow it is, always good to be humble, no matter how big or just be humble to learn. Even from a 5-year-old, you can learn from. Yeah.
Okay. I know that with changing careers, does that require someone now changing their skills? So let me rephrase this question. How do you stay continuously relevant to learn when moving to a new industry, especially when it requires mastering new skills or maybe getting more experience and stuff in that direction?
There are different approaches to that. Education, volunteering. Sometimes you don't have to break the bank to go back to school. There are a lot of online free courses and all that. The very first thing to do is ask yourself, what is my capacity to take this on? Am I just going to be a cybersecurity analyst because that's where the money is? Yeah. Am I just living my life on purpose? Living a life of purpose would help you to address what you are naturally excited about. Like I tell you, whatever comes to my mind is a function of how excited am I about it. When I'm excited, the chemical in my brain releases the dopamine and makes me to say, yes, I'm giddy up for this, I'm going to go through this, right? So it's good to learn. It's good to find time to learn about things. But it's not a must that you abandon your livelihood to go back to school. You can even try something else as a side also while still retaining your full-time job. So that when that one crashes, you still have a full-time job to hold on to. In my own situation, after my MBA program, and I'm already seeing that my energy, thriving in international education recruitment. I just felt it was a need for my business that made me to go back to school. Oftentimes, because of the dynamism in the business environment, which could oftentimes create a need, which a lot of customers, asking for ABC, you might say, okay, if there is a regulation or a legal requirement for you to be trained in that field, you can't negotiate it. That's why I had to go back to school to get the immigration diploma from Ashton College, BC. And after that, we went to write the exams and then we became practice. We started practicing. When I left IBM, I was living with nothing. A month later, I realized that before then, I prayed about it. I prayerfully went into it. And one thing with me is I always pray for signs. Please don't get
one of those Jesus is.
That's what is working for me. May not work for another person. Yeah. My job is somebody with dream. And that month I was leaving, I applied. There was something I had applied to digital marketing. I wanted to go. I've been having this urge to go back to my first love, which is marketing. Then I saw a program, BC again, Daily Academy. They have scholarship for BIPOC. Let me just apply. And I applied. And they gave me that scholarship. I went back again. I said, well, with digital marketing now, it will help my business, right? I won't have to. So that's how I did that. For me, the need often sets me out of the direction of what I need to satisfy that need. So craving to go into an industry has to be fueled by what resources am I going to use? What pathway am I going to take? So for every individual out there watching this today, check yourself. What are my interests? Where does my interest lie? Do I have the capacity to go back to school? If not, do I have the capacity to go and volunteer and learn that thing ground up? If that is the case, hold on to your full-time job. Spend time to volunteer. So yeah.
So how has your experience across different industries enhanced your ability to empower immigrants through your consulting services? I know the seventh Laurel Immigration and Oak Ridge.
First one is my lived experiences, because sometimes you might say you have all the experiences and all that, but people want a validation.
Yeah.
They want that validation, that value proposition. And my value proposition is my lived experience. As that mom who arrived on that cold evening, abandoned everything, leaving the men for the unknown, navigating, with two toddlers. Husband has to stay back to work, to foot our bills, and I made a lot of mistakes. I fell, I got up, and I always tell myself, if I make a mistake, I don't want to be selfish to allow another person around me make such mistakes.
Sure.
So that's how the whole information hub started, coming up. And I use majority of the time is my lived experiences that is also backed by some of the research that I work on. I love to do a lot of research. By the way, the MBA Society during our MBA gave me research-oriented students. So I love to uncover. Remember when I told you when I was bringing my mom, say curious human being. She calls me curious cat. So yeah. Curiosity, lived experience, and we need to just make sure that nobody makes the same mistakes around me. I expect to build a lot of community, and people trust when they see it truly. See the outcome. It helps with deliverability, right?
You're right. So what role does education play in helping immigrants navigate their new environments and achieving success?
The difference between somebody that is succeeding and somebody that is struggling is access to information. Information is key. It's power. Knowledge is power. It's that power you need. If you don't have power, you can't lift anything. So when they say knowledge is power, knowledge is power. So I think access to information is one critical factor that can help you cut down on the length of time you fail, right? So you tend to cut down on time. You and I know in our community, your time is money. An average person will charge you per hour. You go to work, your hour must count. If you are doing overtime, they must pay you for the overtime. So
100%,
that knowledge and the information you have would help you cut down on losses and help you to gain more. So from my hand, it has always been just sharing. And sometimes maybe I might find myself in the community and networking, going out of your comfort zone to go out there, attend events, gatherings.
Yeah.
It's not a waste.
It's not a waste.
All of them that they go, people should just go, let me stay out and watch Netflix. Trust me, you're paying to watch Netflix. Just put that money, put gas in your vehicle or get a taxi. Go out there, meet people, build equity around the people that you meet. Because somebody will know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody.
Right.
And help you solve a problem around an idea that you're looking to build. So knowledge is not something you get only from the social media, only from the internet, Google search. There are some experiences you will hear from people that will resonate with you. Look the person in the face and say, oh wow, your experience is, yes, I did. And then you go back home feeling pumped. There's no way I won't make it. Yes. Knowledge, information, build a proper network, and find your tribe. When I say find your tribe, I mean find your tribe. Not everybody will be your tribe.
Yep.
Not everybody. Oftentimes you are looking in the direction of, oh, this person has my back. true test of character is when you are not there, what happens? That's the character of that person. You may not know, but the person knows. Just love
Yeah.
yourself. Go out of your way to support people. Don't expect the same measure of how much you give to those people to give back to you. Just do it and be happy that you fulfill the calling or a purpose. Network, give your purpose, information. Be vulnerable. Don't feel. Sometimes it's good to be vulnerable. I don't have an idea. I failed doing this. Who can help me?
Mm. Truly, truly exciting. Please build your network. Build a tribe of people that you know that are loyal. Loyalty is a commitment. It's not just you looking for a tribe that are loyal, but you as well be loyal. There are people out there that need people to connect with. Go out there. There are people. Like, there are people. If I tell you my story of how I met Light, or let me not even go there, let me just cut it. But it's impactful that knowing well you got someone that you don't see every day, but you know that when you call, they are there.
They have your back.
When you call, you don't even have to, you know, something happens. Oh yeah, where are you? And hey, this is what I'm saying. What I want you to. That's how I see it. And surprisingly, yesterday I wanted to put on my status to go, loyalty is a commitment. I said, no, let me don't be posting those every day. Of late, I've been talking about kindness. And now I'm like, loyalty. It's an effort. You need to commit it, especially when you have a tribe out there, knowing well that you have to look out for each other. Those of you that sit at home and expect that you want to be an island, I don't want to mix with people. No, I don't want to know this, kind of race, this ethnicity. I want to mind my business. I don't want. Wait the day they will start doing GoFundMe for you. You see yourself. Only GoFundMe for yourself. Please, I don't mean it in a negative light, but please, let's be very smart and know why we're here. Very important. Okay. So for those looking to switch careers, especially into industries that they may not have experience, what advice would you give for them to successfully transit? I know that some people, it's not just the advice. I know you've shared your story. What works for you might not work for another person. But then again, sometimes people need that validation, and the validation to say, oh, well, I heard it repeatedly. Maybe I need to, tune in that direction.
First thing, if they have the opportunity, they should find a mentor. Somebody that can selflessly pour and sometimes some people also struggle to find mentor because some mentors, what they get to hear about becomes something they want to compete against you for, right? So it's good to have a mentor. It's also good to have a plan. I always tell people, even if I'm setting out on something, I always have a Christian those times, and Stephanie, they used to call me, what if plan B? I always go with, I tell myself, if I'm going in this direction, what if? When all chips are down, what can I do? Find a mentor. Just don't give up on learning. Learning may not necessarily be picking up books. It could be from even environments around you. And that's why it still comes up. In Canadian environments, we find ourselves. We must learn to go out and socialize and network. Volunteering is the best way also to passively contribute to the community. And when you contribute to the community, it shows you're even happy being a part of the change. Through that, you pick up some lessons. It wasn't easy for me doing all, and it's still not easy. In 2015, by then my oldest was, I think, 5, the youngest was 3. I still find time to rush and volunteer. William Tarr was one of my direct, the person I reported to at the YMCA for the Syrian refugee settlement in 2015. It was not easy, but I found the time. There were so many life lessons that William Tarr shared with me then that helped me navigate, that I also try to pay it back, pay it forward. Work with other people in YMC. It's a non-for-profit and they have different departments in charge with different things. I picked up different skills, connecting and communicating with them. So volunteering is the best way. Your employer is paying you. You're giving your time. You're both winning. You're winning in both directions. If you're out there, you're thinking of what to do. I don't have time. I don't have time. 1 hour will not keep. The 1 hour out of the 3 hours you want to go and use to watch a series on Netflix, take 1 hour today, go and put something down. You've built a 1 hour social equity for yourself. When the time comes for you, you never know, it could be on that volunteering that they will look for somebody that is needed in one particular role in another industry.
Yeah.
They feel that because you've really navigated this well, you will put your name forward. So don't be afraid, and don't be afraid to start all over in another industry, but with the right mindset.
Yeah.
With the willingness to unlearn, to be humble, to also go out of your way to make friends that have value and meaning to your lives. There are some friends that they just want to drag you back, they want to discourage you, because they feel like they are not cut out for venture.
Yeah.
Stay. That's why you see people they stay 40 years on the job. You ask them, how come did you? They're like, well, some people are doing 50 years. And they ask myself, hey, my bum go pay me for chair, stay one location. I don't move. I no fit do sorry, I have to bring my pigeon side. Just see the pigeon side of me so that you can see the emphasis.
Yeah.
I no fit do I'll get bored, you know. So sometimes don't cheat your employer, or because my pay is coming in. When you're just doing for doing sake, you're even cheating yourself.
Yeah,
Because you're
of course.
failed to unravel that next level of talent
You're right.
that has been deposited in you. So don't cheat yourself. Don't cheat your employer. The moment you're not excited to do what you love to do, there is need for you to make adjustments.
Correct. So I know my next question was going to be tied to non-profit, but then you touched a little on volunteering. So can you share some of your experience working with non-profit organizations and how they have shaped your perspective, particularly in helping communities and empowering others? You've touched a light board. Let's talk about this.
You know, I have had different experiences, but there was one I've had in this past half a decade, out of all, that I wish I could just wake up and say it never happened. It was also a non-for-profit, but when there was somebody was calling me by the title, and I said to the person, I said, please don't call me by that title again. It's depressing. Or one day, somebody just told me, hey, take it off. You have picked up some lessons there. You might not know it now, but there will come a time.
Lessons, valuable.
And honestly, seeing it now helps me to be very conscious of my own leadership style. You know, even before now, I've always been conscious of my leadership style, making sure that I don't micromanage people around me. We operate as an open book. And you and I know, by the way, this woman that is asking me a question, we both co-founded the Black Business and Professional Network. And she's asking me questions around non-for-profit. And we knew...
So now people will understand what it's like, and what the benefits are, right?
I hear you. I will answer your questions. But you also understand how we operate, like carrying everybody along before a decision is being made, even if we are world apart. We have a way to say, this is something I'm going to act on spontaneously. Do I have things permission to go ahead? For me, that is the best leadership you can give. What you do indirectly is to tell everybody on that team that you all matter, regardless of hierarchy, regardless of who is leading or who is not a position holder. Everybody matters. So for me, that is the first thing that can actually help an organization, be it non-for-profit or any other for-profit organization, to build capacity, to trust that people can do the job when you're not there. You and I know, like, I was quite away for some time studying. My colleague, Rita, she's an Ukrainian. She was manning the home front. right? 7th Laurel, while I was away. It took me trusting her to deliver. That is from my for-profit perspective.
Yeah.
It took her also seeing that this person respects me a lot to deliver. I will put in my best. This was the mindset and the lessons that I picked from when I joined IBM. I never saw my manager face to face for all the years I stayed in IBM. And I worked remotely all through. And all through those remote years, I had the opportunity to give excuse, my children, I'm not coming today, I'm calling in sick. My dear sister, I did my best because two things I had in mind. I was also preparing that same position for another Nigerian, quote and unquote, because when you leave a job, they may not remember your name, but they will remember that you came from Nigeria. So how well you treat that position well, you open up that door for another person.
You're right.
I worked myself out, and it helped because every now and then I was always getting blue points. When you get blue points, a client has recognized you for helping to achieve ABC and all that. So that leadership and the trust that my manager, Mary, had in me that I can deliver, whether I am not near her, helps me to also manage all the people that I mentored. By the way, one of the students I mentored online during COVID, I discovered that through Tunde Taj Twitter. Tunde Taj was like, Tunde Taj.
Yeah.
He said, and give back to Nigeria, this. I said, I'm interested. 3 people came forward, only one person. The lady, to the glory of God now, she graduated from Conestoga College last month and doing well. As we speak right now, we've not met each other, but we believe in ourselves. And that is the mindset that helps us to form the Black Business and Professional Network. And beyond that, I've served in various capacities, YMCA, Prude Inc., name it. But above all, it's that service mindset. You need to make sure you do things right by the book so that in future, when you're no longer there, and your name is written somewhere, your children can look back and say they are happy, they are proud of you. People have called me names that, oh, is she the only one? Why is she always try to protect my name? Because after all, the chips are down. I came to Canada on my own terms. You came to Canada on your own terms. I'm not going to allow some decisions or some inconvenience or uncomfortable situations, redefine who I am. So that is the lesson for everybody. You don't want to bring sentiment into a situation. If you find yourself in a situation that is not meeting your ethical definition, I think it's best you move away to go and restart and all that. So non-for-profit leadership is also like a business of your own. The professional life could be a business of your own because it's paying your bills.
Yeah.
How we treat it matters. And I think a one-cap-fits-all approach matters in terms of our perspective, our willingness to learn, to unlearn, to learn and relearn, to also show off, to be flexible, to have the mindset that I can do it. And I think with that, you can thrive in any career that you find yourself. Mindset is the first thing. Because when your mind is troubled, you can't do anything.
You can't. Be
confident in your own skin. Be very confident in your skin. Nobody can replace you. You are who you are. And I tell people right now, I am who I am, and I'm what God say I am. So I can't help you if you say you have problem with me. Sorry, I can't change myself to fit the box. But I can try to listen for how we can come to the midpoint, to work together objectively, without sentiment, without me changing, without you changing me.
Now I know about the 7th Laurel. So would you want to share like what kind of services do you provide, or does your company provide in regards to immigration business?
As a member in good standing with the College of Immigration and Citizenship Consultant, we are empowered to assist and guide applicants navigate the path of immigration, different pathways.
Can I just cut you short? So in the comments section, I have Oluife, and he did said, so he's been truly engaging. So what I do sometimes to acknowledge people that are truly engaging, they want us to do better and bring in more content here. And then when I asked you about the immigration business, he did comment the best.
Oh, thank you.
Hello,
Ifeolu
thanks to
is a
everyone. Thanks
fantastic.
to everyone that is
Yeah,
here. Thank you so much. And those that are listening
thank
as
you,
well.
Ife.
Okay,
Thank you,
sorry.
Ife. By the way, the Ifeolu brand and Seventh Laurel, we are working on something. So guys, stay tuned and watch out for it. Yeah, yeah. He did a post recently. I kind of modeled his brand. He's working on what
Ooh.
we call the art of the future. So you may want to go and explore, take an adventure with Ife Olu. But thank you, Ife. So what am I trying to say? I think we were
Just
talking around.
send me a chat. If I send me a chat, just say hi, please. Thank you. A friend of Olaitan is a friend of mine, so take it slow. Calm down, calm down. You got a lot to do.
Okay, so I think I've lost track of that question you asked. Do you mind asking again?
To share, like, what do you do? Like, what the kind
Seventh
of
Laurel.
services you in the immigration, services you provide.
So I see Seventh Laurel as something that was created out of passion to help, prevent people from going into the wrong hands and also ensure that value comes to me. And I do a lot of work on corporate consulting to help recruit people who wants to come study. As a commission-based role, if they don't come into Canada, I don't get a commission.
Oh,
Working with Apply Board, University of New Brunswick, and various other schools that I represent. So the onus lie on me to ensure that we work together with the client as partner in progress. Because when they win, I win. When they lose, I lose. So it's more like a family-driven social entrepreneurship. Because I recalled when I set out, the first two projects that I took on were pro bono on bereavement. So I literally took on that case, and
I think I remember it.
yes. So even my friends were like, you just lost your job. Yeah, collect.
Now you're doing free job. You see, it is that service. If you love what you do, it doesn't matter. You go out there to provide support. This woman like this is a support system. Trust me.
Right. Honestly, that's anyway. I was like, but when you look at being a mom, you also realize that a baby just lost her mom. And to think that that baby is not going to be with family. For me, the first thing was that this is family reunification has to happen.
Hmm.
However it does, we have to fight this. And I took that on. There's another bereavement. They need to connect with the family. That's lingered for like years, and thankfully now the families have reunited. The babies with them, doing so well, fantastic. And then I knew that that's the direction I wanted. So then, not to say that I don't need money to pay my bills. My goal is to ensure that we put in our best foot forward with our clients, navigating temporary residents, permanent residents, Canadian citizenship application, spousal sponsorship, visitor visa, all kinds of, even business immigration. The only thing I don't touch is the refugee side of um consulting and all that. Before the requirements around having a certificate to also do that,
Hmm.
I always told myself there are some things around my personally that makes me to feel like this is an area I don't want to touch. So all other things apart from refugee, immigration, Canada immigration, this is the organization for you. We are 5-star rated. Until recently, we saw one ghost comment and no response. We never had the dealings with the client, but up until then, we're 5-star rated. And as it is, our doors open. We're working on a technology-driven option to also help people to pay and tap into knowledge at a minutest fraction of their yes, because hyperinflation has driven a lot of things in our country of origin, and I am sensitive to that needs. I really want to also help to bridge that gap. Like I said, that's why I'm going back to school again in January to use education as that tool for the
Yeah.
change we need to see in our minority community.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm still going to be working on the side also.
I like that. I like the addition. Oh
Yes,
my. This is truly insightful. Thank you, Olaitan, for taking out time from your busy schedule. Just a quick one. So, how can they find your business? I know I'll be sharing your handle, but let them hear from the horse's mouth.
we're available on the website www.7floralinnovation.com. We are on LinkedIn. We are on Instagram. We are also on Facebook. But the best way to reach out to us is fill in the form. Where you can also download our app. We have a mobile app that is available on Android and iOS. It's going to be we're going to be having a big community in there so that you can tap into opportunities and resources. Is coming through before the end of the first quarter. Then feel free to connect with us and we'll do our best to respond.
All right, you heard that. And all the services that is being provided by 7th Laurel Immigration. So please tap into that and don't let it slip by. Just to hit you again. I know you're wearing a beautiful piece. Like, this is beautiful. So where did you get this from? This is the show off. I love it. Light on the hanger plus this one we lost.
One thing about me is I tell people if we don't support ourselves, who will? So you would notice even from days of Oak I love to just promote. So this is one of the pieces from Rokiti Design. She's a woman owned black business in St. John, and she ships and delivers across Canada. So feel free to look her up. Her handle is Rokiti Designs. She's in St. John. She's got nice pieces, and if we don't support our house, waiting we gain, no, we don't gain anything, no.
Nothing.
We support one another, regardless of our differences. There has to be a unifier. You need to put somebody up there. That when that person finds a need for you or something, a space for you, it's easy for that person to pull you up there. So this is my little way of supporting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So any last words?
Be yourself. Do not allow opinions of other people about somebody prevents you from experiencing that person, and just learn to know when to move into a direction when you're not feeling the current, state of current situation. I'm speaking as when it comes to career, because that's the goal of today's conversation. If you're doing something over and over and over again and you're not achieving results, maybe it's time for you to take a break or to seek help. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to be vulnerable. And find your tribe. I have fantastic women in my corner. Bridget is one of them. When things seem a bit dark, I know where to go. In fact, one of them, we always come together at night. Sometimes you say, "Shey, our couple meeting don't start, right?" So that's the time.
You guys are not sleeping. You'll be staying up late, doing only what God knows. Well, sometimes it's that peak of the night, that you get to think properly and do things, and most productive time of the day. I think for me.
And for women out there that are looking to go into business, if you're thinking of how to start, you are between age 20 something to 39. There are opportunities for you as a side hustler. Go look up Futurepreneur programs for Black entrepreneurs, even other immigrants. They provide loans for people that are looking to do side hustle.
But sometimes I wonder why there's a cap on that, especially when it comes to age.
Age, yeah. So that's why I said between age 20 something to even age from 18 to 39. Then there are some other funding also. Space Coalition has funding for people regardless of your age. And look out for opportunities. We have Connection Works in St. John. We have Planet Arch in Fredericton. We have Ben Innovation. Please ask questions, ask around. When you ask questions, you will not miss the way. It would even save time.
Mm-hmm.
It will save time.
Yeah, it
You can use
does.
to go and watch your Netflix, you know.
So please, you have my permission to reach out to Olaitan. This is me taking it upon myself. You have the permission from me, 100% certified, to reach out to Olaitan and ask any question you feel she hasn't touched here, or any questions regarding immigration and mentoring as well. Thank you, Olaitan, and I appreciate you, showing up today. It means so much to me. I appreciate your support, your love, and your continuous effort to push people to be better. Thank you so much. And thanks to everyone that has tuned in today. Thank you. Wherever you're listening or watching from, I want to say thank you. Please support this podcast. Like I mentioned, this is not just a regular podcast. We are growing while learning to be better, to bring in content and topics that are relevant, that will be helpful to our community, because we are a growing community as well. But this is where real conversations inspire. Follow us on all social media handles. We're on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok. And please, this is going to be posted on YouTube. While you're there, Life with Bridget, subscribe. I'd appreciate honest feedbacks. If you have any concerns or on ways we can be better, please reach out. We're open to honest feedback, not those kind of feedbacks that's like, hey, you didn't do this. Why were you not smiling? Why didn't you put pink lipstick to be pinking? No, like real feedback to make this content very creative. Please, thank you so much. And do not forget, today's topic is thriving across industries, the benefits of a diverse career path. Thank you, Olaitan, and do have a beautiful weekend. Thank you, everyone.